Welcome to Hospitality on Podcast. We are today with Simon P. Casson, President Hotel Operation, Europe, Middle East and Africa. Would you please introduce yourself, Mr. Casson, for our audience?
Good afternoon, Emmanuel, and all our listeners at Hospitality On. As Emmanuel said, I'm Simon. I'm the President for Hotel Operations for Four Seasons for Europe, Middle East and Africa. And we're coming to you live today from the Georges V Hotel in Paris.
Simon, will you please share with us who are your models and mentors?
I think we're all absolutely a product of those that chose to invest time in us. And there was, various in my journey from where I started who believed in me and gave me opportunities and, gave me the power of self-belief. And I would say my mother would be a first mentor in my life. And then as I got into the world of work, and there's a hotelier called Kit Chapman who I worked for in my very early years in the UK. And then as I started my Four Seasons journey, hoteliers like Ramon Pejaras in London, Stan Bromley in Washington DC in America, Robert Chima, John Staus, who run our London hotel. There's some of the great Four Seasons leaders, through the decades, Wolf Hengst, Antoine Corinthius, and current day, mentor someone like Christian Clerc, who currently leads our global hotel operations.
What attracted you in the hospitality industry?
I was 13 years old, and I grew up in England, and I was in a small village, and I took a job washing dishes in a local restaurant. So I was washing the dishes in the restaurant and loved the noise and the excitement and the atmosphere of the kitchen. But then also as the doors, you had the in and the outdoors where the waiters took the trays into the restaurant. As those opened, I got this peek into another world. And I saw people pulling up in nice cars, coming in dressed in beautiful clothes, wearing jewelry. And then the sound of family occasions, the clinking of glasses, the celebration of birthdays and engagements. And that somehow the combination of what was happening in the back and what was happening in front spoke to that young boy and said, wow, this is something that excites me. And all I knew of it then was that it was a restaurant, but something said to me, this is a business that I would like to be in. You imagine if you're sitting next door in La Cinq here and you're having a 3-star Michelin meal that's been meticulously curated from Chef Lasquare's most amazing talents and ingredients, but you sit down and the plate's dirty. Suddenly that pot washer holds the whole experience in his hands. If he hasn't done his job, our 3-star Michelin chef is not going to be able to shine to do his job. So I always tell that when I'm in the kitchens now, and I tell the polish, hey, buddy, I did your job as well. And let me tell you that you're critical to the success of this restaurant, and here's why.
What has been the biggest challenge in your career till now?
It's a journey that's, continually defined by challenge. And that's why the journey's continuing, because challenge is what drives us forward. If you have an attitude of complacency or relaxed, you probably will just at a certain point flatline. You can flatline as a dishwasher and do it for your life, or I've always been driven to go forward because I've always asked myself, what can I be doing more? Wondering and worrying how I can be better. And a lot of times that comes when you fail at something, when something doesn't go right. And I remember when I first became a department head in the early 90s in London, I was the room service manager. Went in there, I was, 21, 22 years old. And the department was fully staffed by Portuguese men between 50 and 65 years old. 21, I don't think I was even shaving. I was a late developer. And so I felt like a boy in this department of men. And so I just tried to be the manager. It said on my business card, room service manager. So I managed and I made changes in structure and schedule and everything. They ended up walking out. It was a union hotel. They all walked out. And it was a huge lesson for me that you have to lead and not manage. And to lead, you must first listen and you must first give respect, understand their journeys. They've seen a dozen young managers come through in that department. So I should be asking them, what worked? What didn't work? Which managers did you like? Which did you not? Let's do this together as a team. But in the arrogance of youth, I just tried to manage them. And it was potentially a big failing point in my career. It was pretty desperate at the time, but an amazingly important lesson on the value of leadership and servant leadership, that you're not there to crack the whip and direct. You're there to lift people from below and lift them up and help them to be the best that they can be.
What is, according to you, Four Seasons DNA for hoteliers?
We absolutely have a very strong DNA. The company's been, going for almost 60 years now, and that sort of golden thread of DNA is its humanity, is its focus on people, and it's, our strong belief that how we do business in an ethical way, treating other people like we would like to be treated with a fairly strong moral code, is an essential part of our success and longevity. And so the DNA of Four Seasons for me is entirely human. And the reason, I've spent 30 years of my life with the company is because of that.
Hospitality industry is really an industry, if you work hard, you can climb the ladder of the social scale.
The longer you work, of course, you go through a period where you want to attain position and certain level of financial security. But once you've climbed that mountain, probably as you get into middle age as well, it becomes much more about meaning. What have I given my life to? How have I spent whatever time and talent I have? How have I put that out there? Was it to something that I believed in and was worthy? And, the DNA of Four Seasons, always provided that to me. It's been very challenging at times, stretched me often at times, but at the same time was always felt like I had a voice, I was listened to, I was respected, and that it was a meritocracy. So if I was the best person, I would go up. No matter which school you went to, or whether you're tall or short, or brown or white or yellow, or who your dad was. No, it's based on if you're the best person for the job, then you will get the job. And I love that about the company. I've ended up as the president. When I go in to talk to people, I tell them my story because they will assume a certain journey on my behalf. But I let them know that I left home at 15 and didn't go to university and didn't have some of those educational or affluent advantages that they might have expected. But I got into this wonderful business, waiting tables and cooking and cocktail bartending, that allowed me to maximize, inherent talent I had, rabid ambition and a capacity for hard work. And you're in an industry where you can go from pot washer to president. Not many industries can say that, I think.
Could you share with us the company's goal
Created the Four Seasons private jet really as a brand extension. Our brand has a value as part of a luxury business, and luxury hotels are one part of a business that's watches and clothes and wine and motor cars and yachts and planes as well. And we realized we had a unique opportunity to curate experiences that take away the hassle of commercial travel. So the jet is really a means to take the guest to Four Seasons hotels where they can experience things they wouldn't normally experience, because every part of a jet's itinerary, wherever they touch down, we curate an experience that they could not do without us. And that could be landed in St. Petersburg, and while the Hermitage Museum is closed, that we do an out-of-hours tour. And so it's not just being on a jet. It would put you with a group of people who also are curious and interested about the world. And it's been a phenomenal success, far more than we could ever have imagined. So much so that we've commissioned a new jet that will launch in 2021, completely new airplane infrastructure and newly designed interiors with social area that will allow our craftsmen and masters to be on board and do some cooking demonstrations and cocktail making, and so up in the experience again.
Coming back to your area and your missions, could you share with us the ambition of Four Seasons in the EMEA region?
One thing, we're a luxury hotel company. We're not going to be running a 1,000-room hotel, and you're not going to have a 3.5 or a 2 seasons. We're in this very small part of the business, which is running medium-sized luxury hotels and striving to be the best in market. So that's a global vision. Within the area that I cover, EMEA, and it's fairly geographically wide. There's 40 hotels now, but across 26 countries with 16,000 employees. And so it's a very geographically and cultural diverse region. And part of the goals is to grow. And we opened last year in Athens, beautiful reimagining of the Astia Palace. We reopened Megève, our little ski resort in the French Alps, at the end of this year, adding the Chalet de Montabois. And this year in 2020, we're going to be opening our first hotel in Spain, in Madrid, which again is a very exciting reinvention of a Centro Canalejas area of Madrid that is going to be really transformed by this addition of a Four Seasons hotel, historic building, partnering with Danny Garcia, the 3-star Michelin chef for the Roof restaurant. So that's an exciting part of the expansion. And then we continue looking for where are Four Seasons guests traveling, and they're staying with another brand because we're not present there. Everywhere where that is the case, where there's a market for affluent, discerning, high-end travelers, and if there's not a Four Seasons there, rest assured we're looking and we're interested.
Thank you, Simon, for your time on Hospitality On.
Merci, Emmanuel.